Welcome to this episode of ISV Talks. I'm Carol Livingston, your host of ISV Talks and the owner of Dynamics Connections. And on this episode, I have Bob McAdam from Tasklet. Welcome, Bob.
Thanks, Carol. It's always great to join you on ISV Talk. So thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thank you. So we're doing now it's becoming a thing after every event. We're doing a recap of Dynamics Community Summit. And I'm excited to go through and talk about what happened at the event last week. We're now a week after Summit in October 2025 here. So
To talk about it.
there is a lot to talk about, my goodness. So, well, first, let's introduce yourself and tell the audience who you are, how long you've been in the Dynamics community, a little bit about Taslet.
Okay. So I'm Bob McAdam. I head up strategic partnerships at Tasklet, which is a Danish company that is best in class mobile warehouse management for Business Central, finance and supply chain management, and their on-premises predecessors. Say that 10 times fast. I spent over 25 years in the GP channel. This was my 18th summit event going back to September 2007, the very first GPUG summit. I remember them all. I really do. And I've been in this business for now 28 years. So it's been really wonderful. And the people in our business are great, Carol, which makes going to events like Community Summit North America more than worth it.
That's awesome. I met somebody at Summit who has been to every single summit. That would be Mark Rockwell from Gen Software. He said he has been to every single summit since the beginning.
Yep. And I bet you Frank Vukovitz has been to everyone. And it wouldn't surprise me if Mark Rhodes from Continia.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Frank at Delinea and Mark Rhodes at Continia would not surprise me
Yeah.
if they had been to every single one.
I think they need to give you guys a pen,
I know. I have a
right?
community summit deal, but I don't have a gold. I'm waiting for my
Yeah,
gold watch, John Seifert. Where is it?
right. John, put it on the list.
That's
We
right.
need the recognition here. So, well, first of all, let's start out with what were kind of the big themes, any announcements at Summit that we can share with the audience.
Yeah, sure. So, of course, they talked about AI and Copilot, and they also talked about Copilot and AI. And of course, that's ubiquitous now in our industry, and rightly so, because of course, the Dynamics products and so many other things have Copilot ingrained in them, and people that are
Yep.
going to leverage this new technology, and it is relatively new still, are going to scale quicker and better. So it's cool to try and wrap your arms around it, or at least figure out what AI agents are and what they can do for you. So that
Yeah.
was all over the place. This year they even had a co-pilot tech desk for people who wanted help with that,
Yeah.
which was, if I'm not
And it
mistaken.
was busy. I went by, they had people there all the time.
Exactly.
You're right. And a whole track on Copilot.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, it's here
definitely
and it's going full bore, no doubt.
I definitely feel like that theme was woven in and incorporated in kind of everyone's sessions and overall at the general sessions for each of the products. It definitely was discussed and case studies, examples. Again, that theme of Microsoft asking the partners, especially, to be kind of customer number one, right? Like use it
Frontier
yourselves, use it
firm.
internally, right?
Yeah.
That frontier firm idea, right? Be the first, use it yourselves. And that helps inspire customers, but also you can see some practical ways it can be used in their business.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
definitely.
practical examples like in Business Central or what have you, if I can see how an AI agent helps me do a a job or a series of tasks
Yeah.
in a department, right? That then I'm going to understand it better. You have lots of people, lots of
Yeah.
speakers from Microsoft talking about all that's involved and how it's growing and all this other stuff. I want to see practical examples, and then I can take
Mhm.
that back to my colleagues who were unable to attend Summit and tell them how it's going to help us out
Mhm.
tremendously in the back office.
Yeah, definitely a lot of opportunities on training. Of course, DCI is got their co-pilot event in March, right? That's what is
Yes.
that, the second year or third year this
This will
year?
be this coming March in 26 will be the second year that the
Second
AI
year.
agent and Copilot Summit will be a reality. And that had a nice kickoff last year in San Diego, and I expect attendance will probably be up like 50% from the first iteration, which is
Mhm.
That show's got legs.
Yeah, so that's in March. So you got a little time to plan to attend that one. And then, of course, the AI Business Solution Partner Executive Summit is still too long. Anyway, the partner event will be in July, again in Bellevue.
And that's a
Yeah.
great
So,
show because there's the right people in our business, the decision makers and the owners of some of these firms. They're at this show. John
yeah.
C. really kind of nailed this one. And it's in the middle of the July. My wonderful colleagues in Denmark are on summer holiday and the new fiscal year is
Yeah.
kicking. So I love going up there to the mothership and talking to some of the people in North America who are ready to kick off the new Microsoft year. That's a good show. And that one will probably get 500-600 people next summer in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I think this year they had 450. So, yeah, if they get to
Yeah.
500 next year, that makes sense. And you're right. It's in the area next to the Microsoft campus. So there's a
Yep.
lot of Microsoft people attending and speaking at this event. And you're getting firsthand, right, from the leadership at Microsoft about their priorities for the fiscal year
Sure.
that's just kicked off for them in July. And so it's a good event for partners to go to. So I definitely recommend. I think it is becoming a really important event. So
Yeah.
small, but it's growing. But there's a
Yep.
lot of co-pilot training, and
Sure.
DCI, of course, is really keen on trying to help the community move forward in that journey of learning
Mhm.
about how AI and Copilot can help in their businesses. What else was announced at Summit?
At Summit this year in Orlando, they have their new learners platform, right?
Right.
John Seifert was up on stage on the keynote that first morning talking about the learners. They even had big QR codes. You can sign up right away and get logged
Hmm.
in. They handed out the t-shirt. Was it kind of a
Yeah,
side?
I'll show you. There's the
Yeah,
front
there it is. There it is.
of it.
That's
That's pretty
John's
cool.
creation. Yeah, 20 summits, 20 years of summit,
Oh
and
yeah. On the
he's got
back,
on the
it's like
back
a
is
like a
yep,
concert tour.
I've got them all memorized. I'm telling you. I
Wait,
got them
I
all
mean, you were
memorized.
back in the early days, there were
Yeah,
two different UG groups and then they merged, right?
yeah,
So,
that's right. For the in the initial years, AXUG was the first summit, and that was how the company really got started. Was CIOs using Exapta, which was
yeah,
was called originally, and not having any user groups to lean on when they were implementing that application. So once AXUG got percolating and AXUG Summit had a couple of runs under its belt, GPUG was born. It had its summit. And then in 2008, you had CRMUG jump in, and the NAV folks had their own user group already, but they agreed to join in on the
right.
fun. And 2008 was the first time all four UGs were actually together, staggered, but together out
Yeah,
in Las Vegas at Green Valley Ranch, which was a really cool place to go. Let me tell you.
that sounds neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
different.
20 years of summits on the t-shirt and the learners platform, all things to celebrate over
Yeah,
time and learners platform getting end users together to get smarter. Because 20 years ago, you had four summits running at the same time, right? Now the Microsoft stack is so much more broader, right? We didn't have the Power Platform tools. We didn't have Copilot and AI back then. We didn't have
mhm,
Azure and all this cloud computing stuff way back when everybody was on prem. But now it's like the stack is bigger and stronger and wider,
right.
and
Yeah,
people just have more stuff to learn than just their ERP or CRM. They've got to figure out
right.
all the integrations, and the list is really long.
Yeah, so it's great to go to an event like this and really get exposed to that, learn about it, and be
Mhm.
able to take that back to your organization and help the team understand and maybe start looking at how they can learn and incorporate it. Boy, AI, like that was the topic. In every session, I feel like that was definitely mentioned about a million times, right?
Maybe
Yeah,
two
and that
minutes.
learners platform too. So just to kind of back up, so that kind of takes in all of the activities that would have been in kind of the previous chapter meetings. That's now part of the learners platform. So they'll have local events, they'll have regional events, they'll have national events, and even global events.
Yeah,
So it sounds like is in their vision. So it's also going to have digital events and recordings. So like anything recorded during Summit will be on the learners platform, and
yeah,
it's free to join. So everybody should become a member at least. You can
right.
also apply to become a leader a speaker. They're always going to need speakers. They're always going to need sponsors, of course, to help pay for that.
Right.
And of course, think about hosts, different locations. Maybe you have a facility that would host a local learners group. That'd be great too. So I'm excited
Yeah.
about that.
It's nice. They're putting it all under one umbrella, right? Oh, there's so many
Yeah.
community road shows, and there's virtual events and podcasts, and now John's got 3 events going during the year. John Seifert with the Co-Pilot Summit in March and the Partner Executive Summit in July, and then the big summit in October. So, I mean, it's all
Mhm.
being rounded up into one place. You can't be everywhere, although you and I
Yeah.
do try to be everywhere if we can. But at least we
At least
can.
Bob does. Bob's everywhere.
I'm trying to be. I'm going to get all the pilots in the United States to know me on a first name basis. But at least it's all in one place where we
Yeah.
can figure out what's going on in our community, which is across multiple ecosystems, not like
That's
the old days.
huge.
You just worried about GP
Yeah.
or AX or what have you. So it's nice that that's
Yeah.
all been lassoed together. It's a
Yeah,
nice
and they're
addition.
going to really organize by regions. If you want to be a regional leader and kind of help
Right.
organize or facilitate, yeah, they're going to need a lot of, it's going to be community driven. So we need lots
Mhm.
of volunteers. So
Sure.
I'm excited about
Volunteers are
that.
important. And that's really
Yeah.
where you
So,
can do well and maybe build your
yeah,
career on a specific industry or specific skill set. A lot of people
yeah,
who are big shots today were volunteers years ago, and over
yeah,
time they became known quantities because they put the time and effort in to volunteer and
yeah.
show others what they knew.
Yeah, well, speaking of that, there were a lot of Legends awards and
Yes,
All-Star awards. I want to highlight some of those folks
sure.
or
The Legends Awards were given out for the 4th time. So 2021 was the first year that John did that, John Seifert. He did a
Mhm.
Legends Award just to kind of recognize people that had been involved in the community really since the get-go. And fortunately, believe it or not, yours truly got one of those inaugural Legend Awards, which is really nice,
Yeah,
and get my picture on the
congratulations.
side of Legend stated and stuff, and a bunch of other people that helped out.
Yeah.
This year they had, I think, 9 or 10 new legends, and the first one mentioned was my friend Mark Rhodes at Continia. And Mark should have been in
Yeah.
the class with me, and I lobbied with DCI. I'm like, gotta get Mark in there. His
Yeah.
fingerprints
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
all over this company, and this year they listed him off first, and rightly so. So congratulations, Mark, and to all the other legends who did really well.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and they
one
great.
worth mentioning, well, of course, our in the GP space we had several. We had Wendy Epperson from
Mm-hmm.
Najavity, so she
Right.
well deserved
Yeah.
being recognized, and Pam Mashalik. I think
Right.
she was kind of surprised. I don't know how they kept that a secret from her.
Yeah, I know,
Maybe
especially
she had
since
an
she works
idea.
there. But you're right. It's nice to see some people that have been walking the hallways of Summit for all these years get some
Yeah.
recognition because, of course, back in the old days, it was a lot of work and just trying to build up and let people know what a user group was. A lot of people didn't know what that was in the early days, and it took several iterations of Summit before it finally began to take off and gain prominence.
Yeah. Yeah, the only comment I have about the Legends Award is that we were all like it was in the middle of the expo hall and the
Yeah.
welcome reception kind of crowded. It's,
Yes, they need a
instead
bigger
of sweet,
Legends,
yeah,
need a bigger one and a
they
louder
did.
microphone. Giuseppe has a good voice, but there's a lot of
Yeah,
noise in the expo because it's such a busy place.
right. Yeah, and then get everybody together at the end after everybody's gotten their awards individually. They have the legends, all the alumni legends, everybody get on the stage too for a
And do a
picture. So
picture.
it's
That's
like
fun.
that's a big stage. Yeah. Well done to the Legend Award winners and All-Star
Yeah,
Awards. So All-Star Awards are given by each of the UG groups, right, for their
that's right.
particular
I,
product and area.
yeah, I was not able to attend all the general sessions for each of the areas, but I did attend the one for BC, and you had an all-female list of winners this time for BC. Kristen Hossman, Cecile Din, and Shannon Mullins were the BC All Stars for
Yeah.
2025. And and all
Yeah.
those ladies are all friends of mine, and they all started their careers volunteering with Jeep Hug, and
Mhm.
then moved up, and now
Right?
they're recognized all stars in a different ecosystem,
Yeah.
which is great. Meanwhile, on the GP side, you had Dave Laster, who's honestly one of the best minds in our ecosystem, period. And he knows it, and
Hmm.
he'll never tell you that, but I will. And Paige Horn from Ingevity, who used to works with Wendy Epperson, the aforementioned Wendy. And then Chris Giesbrecht, who is an
Yeah,
editor out of Winnipeg at AgriHub, and yours truly nominated him because I'm like, hey, we need users winning these all
right.
stars. It can't be partners all the
Yeah,
time. That's what user groups are about. And
right,
Chris has done
right.
a really good job trying to help his fellow GPN users talk
Hmm.
about their journey to whatever's next. Are they going to stay on GP? Are they going to go to Power GP Online? Are they going to move to something else in the Microsoft family? Are they going to move outside of Microsoft to a competing ecosystem? And he's got the best ideas. He's out talking to people. He's going to all the shows, not just the Microsoft ones, and he's making an assessment because his lift is going to be heavy
Yeah,
and it's going to be
yeah.
complicated,
We,
and he's got to figure it out. It's really on his desk.
yeah. Yeah, they have a lot of users. I asked him, how many users do you have? He said, well, probably about 300 overall. I mean, they're not all on GP, but there's like different products that they use, like Cavallo and
Binary
Windsoft.
Stream
And
MEMS.
yeah,
And
and
that's just
so
a
these
few
are
of them.
all
Yeah.
critical business solutions for them. Yeah,
Hey,
definitely.
he's got a big, heavy lift. So
Yeah.
he's going to need all
So,
5 years to figure it out. So I'm glad he won. He's been out front
yeah.
helping his fellow end users figure out how best to tackle this problem. Good for
Yeah,
him.
he actually, so one of the things that happened during Summit is I was asked to be a media sponsor, which I thought, oh, that'd
Excellent.
be fun. Yeah, a few extra posts on LinkedIn to promote some things coming up on before Summit. And during Summit, they gave me time to schedule an interview, a recorded video interview at Summit. And Chris was actually one of my interviewees. So to get his thoughts about being a attendee at the conference, and also asked him, one of the questions I asked him was what did he recommend for first time attendees? And he had some really good advice, like don't be afraid, sit at tables, talk to people. When you get past that, then maybe volunteer to speak or co-speak with somebody else. So yeah, he's really coming into his own, I think.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy that grabs his lunch on a given day
Yeah.
and finds a table with a bunch of people he's never met before. And then he just
Yeah.
starts
Yeah.
in there.
Asking them questions. So great advice. Well, let's kind of review what happened. So kind of backing up to before Summit started and kind of the
Right.
pre-events. Maybe we'll start with Saturday. That was
Yes.
October 17th, right?
Yeah. Saturday, was it the 17th? Yeah. Geez, the days are all
I
just
think so.
blurring away. Yeah. Tasklet and Netstock and Mary Myers at World Max sponsored a golf scramble at the nearby Falcons Fire Golf Course right around the corner from the Gaylord. And we had about 44, 45 golfers out there, including Mike Morton, who Mary always pairs herself up with because this was her idea. And she does a lot of hard work to make it happen. Um,
Right.
and we had a really nice time. We had great weather, and everybody had a good time. No rain, lots of advanced networking, if you know what I mean, and just a nice day all the way around to kick off Summit for the people that came in one day early. And you got some serious golfers there, so they're not fooling
Hmm.
around. I was seriously driving a cart around and having a nice cold beverage to make sure my body temperature was maintained during the warm Central Florida day.
Yes. Yes. Good way to get acclimated right away, right? On the golf cart, get warm. And then also other things are happening too. They had academy classes going over the weekend, some
Right,
pre-training, so if you wanted to get there early and maybe go through a class, it was a separate ticketed event, but there were a lot of classes happening in all different areas.
right.
Um, so that was happening over the weekend. And then also there were the pre-conference events, so no lack of things to do, right? There were two of them. So do you want to talk about those?
Sure. So I went to bed early on Saturday night after golfing all day or enjoying the afternoon because Sunday morning was the partner enablement workshop, which was about 10 hours of time. Joe Crigliano,
Hmm.
my friend who worked at Microsoft previously for a long time and is now working at Dynamic Communities, got that up to snuff. And Joe had good content, a little bit of Copilot, a little bit of AI, a little bit of marketing, a little
Right?
bit of partner panels, all
Yeah.
kinds of things. It was a variety of things. It was a long day. We started around 8 or so and then wrapped up a little bit after 6 with a lunch hour in between and a couple coffee breaks. But it was a lot to absorb and good networking time. I mean, those partner only events like the one in July that they have, part of the reason to go is the content, but for me, the driver is
Hmm.
the people that are there, right? There's no customers, it's all partners. We want to talk and network and strategize, and I want to tell them about what we're doing at Tasklet and whatnot. And that's just the company that they're keeping at these partner only events is really, really good. And I really enjoy attending those. The networking is as good as the content. So that was Sunday. On top of Sunday as well, they also did a GP to BC event, and it was centered on users attending so that they could figure out, start what Chris Giesbrecht has been talking about with his fellow
Yeah.
comrades there, is trying to figure out what how am I gonna do this, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a full year since Microsoft made this announcement about GP's end of life, December 31, 2029. So now 20% of that time is out the window, and GP end users have 4 years to figure out what they're going to do. And maybe they'll stay on
Yeah.
GP and maybe their partner
Maybe
will
they'll
support
stay.
them. But if that's not the case, or they don't want to be using unsupported software, they got to figure out
Yeah.
a plan. And more than likely, small to mid-sized businesses running
Yeah.
Dynamics GP will end up on Business Central if they want to stay in the Microsoft system, which I'm of the opinion they probably will do that. So a few partners like Velocio and SA Global and some other ISVs that are in those spaces sponsored the event. And I heard they had like 75 or 100 people there.
Yeah.
So that's a
Yeah.
good start. It's time to start thinking about this if you're not doing it
It
already.
is. My husband Brian and I went to the pre-conference events. I went to the partner enablement for the
Okay.
AI, and he went to the GP to BC workshop or event. And yeah, there was probably 75, 80 customers in there. And yeah, he said Mike Morton did a really nice job talking about, hey, we know GP has a really good loyal customer base, and we're hoping that
Yes, he
you take a
does.
look at BC because it's got all these modern features and we're
Yeah.
continuing to invest. So very impressed with that. And then also our legendary Terry Healy from Microsoft, and then also Kenny. I can't say his last name, but on the BC side, they did a kind of a one-off, like this is the way you do it in GP, and this is how you would do it in BC. So kind of a comparison, which I
Yep.
heard was really well done. And so yeah, good event. I'd say on the partner event, oh, and the partner AI enablement workshop really came out of the summer partner executive summit because people are
Right.
saying, hey, look, if AI is a priority, we need more training. So this was an attempt for partners to get more involved and more training around AI. And at the end of the day, one of my favorite things was Dwayne Robinson, who
Yeah.
has
The
his
co-pilot
own
studio dude.
a
Yeah.
Copilot Studio,
Literally.
dude. If you guys haven't registered or subscribed to his channel on YouTube, you should. He's got all kinds of. He kind of reminds me of Bill Nye the Science Guy, met
Mhm.
Copilot. He's a little nerdy, but he is pretty entertaining. And they
Yeah.
built a couple apps right there in our session for partners, actually.
Yeah.
And so it
Their
was really
enablement
good.
apps in Copilot. Yeah.
In Copilot, yeah. He and his colleague Christian did a really good job. So, and that was at the end of the day when usually people are struggling to stay awake. So,
You're right. Yeah. I kind of wish they'd started with that and then maybe bring them back at the end to kind of show an end result.
yeah,
But
yeah,
you're right.
yeah.
It was pretty a unique concept. You don't often see something built specifically for an event that's demoed right there in front of you. You don't really see that very often.
Yeah, right. Like he kind of felt like, okay, this is something that you could do. And so, and his channel, I definitely recommend the Copilot Studio dude. You should check that out. Okay,
Literally,
so what happened
Copilot
on
Studio, dude. Yeah.
yeah, so we've only got to Sunday, so we need to move along. So
I know.
Monday, what happened Monday, Tuesday at
Monday
Summit?
was the keynote kickoff with John Seifert and the
Yeah.
Learners Program and various Microsoft speakers, and they finished on time, which is something I always measure. And then we got right into
Yeah.
sessions, and it was a busy first day, and the expo was open that evening. I think it was around 5:30 with cocktails and usual advanced networking opportunities. So you could visit all of the booths that you need to visit. And back in my partner days, which was a long time ago. I used to walk my customers through the expo because it's a daunting place and there's a
Yeah.
lot in there. And if you have your partner walking you through, he or she will help you find the solutions that they're familiar with or they trust and make your job and make your
Yeah.
life easy. So I used to do
Yeah.
that all the time. And I love being on the
Yeah, we
expo
do
floor.
too.
The pulse of the event really is. It's tons of fun. Tons of fun.
Yeah, it seems like with the expo hall, they have over almost 300 booths and sponsors, and
Yeah.
they had activities on the floor. Like,
Right.
what were some of the activities that were there? Remind me. So we had pickleball, right?
Pickleball for the first time. I thought when I
Yeah.
first saw that on the Expo floor, I'm like, are you serious? Somebody's actually do this, but Jennifer Harris at TMC, they sponsored it. And
Right.
Jennifer, being savvy like she is, not only got
Mhm.
her name all over the pickleball court, but was up on stage with John during the keynote on day one. And I thought, okay,
Right.
she's smart. She's gonna
She is genius.
she's gonna hit the ball fast, and John better be ready because here it comes. But that was really good. And they
Mhm.
also had the puppies again. I think Avalera sponsored it this time. And the general consensus on the puppies is that they're all cute and everybody just loves going over there and sitting in the pen and watching them play
Yeah.
around. Fun. It's pretty cool. They had an
Yeah.
arcade and they had axe throwing. They had they had all kinds of different activities in and around headshots. I think Vertex sponsored that. I can't remember, but they had all different kind of attractive things that move you around the expo, so you make sure you get to all of it. And as the event grows, it's not easy to get to all of it. I can tell you that I didn't get to all of it, and I
Oh.
spent time in that room.
Well, speaking of activities, like even the sponsors, the exhibitors, they had activities in their booth. Like I know my
Yeah.
husband, we did this little AI thing where you got your picture.
Look at Brian there. He's a
I know,
Superman.
I know. He's like, that's what I look like. Yeah, yeah.
Nobody
But
knew that Carol was married to a superhero. Who knew?
right, I mean, it's yeah, kind of a secret, but we had a good time. And I know like there were arcade games and booths. There were, of course, champagne or like a wine
Right.
bar. But I also saw a lot of, it seemed like a lot of arcade games in booths and a lot of
Yeah.
lights and activities. You
It,
guys had an event too, right, in your booth?
yeah, yeah. We had the for the first time ever, we had the Tasklet bar scanning game at our booth. So we used one of our devices. I can't remember if it was a Honeywell or a Zebra, but it was set up like a scan
Yeah,
gun. So it had a trigger.
yeah, yeah.
And for 45 seconds, you had QR codes going across the screen and people could try and shoot at them and scan
Yeah,
as efficiently as you can when you're leveraging the Tasklet solution. So in
yeah.
45 seconds or 40 seconds, one person I think got 26 QR codes, and some of them move really fast or they pop out of nowhere, kind of like a high-tech whack-a-mole, if you will. So to get 26 in like 40 seconds was pretty good. I know my
Yeah.
score was maybe half that.
That's pretty funny. One of the activities we did was we went to Square Nine. They had a challenge the AI. So you could either bring a document and have them scan it and see if AI can read all the fields. I made Brian, who has not the greatest handwriting, sorry, Brian, write out a note and then on a piece of paper. And then they took a picture on a phone and then had AI extract the words on that handwritten note, and it came out really accurate. So I was very impressed.
Okay, that's good to know. I mean, some people have
Yeah,
chicken scratch and others can
there you
write
go.
extremely well. It's good to see
Yeah,
that
it did a
AI
great
can
job.
doesn't discriminate.
No, yeah. So there are a lot of activities for sure. My only criticism is there's never enough time. I mean,
I know.
my feet give out before that probably, but if I had another 3 or 4 hours every day, I would have liked to have more time on the
Right.
floor.
And if your memory is good from the early days of Summit, we really restricted expo time because we wanted people to go to sessions and get smarter. And then we
Yeah.
would have expo hours
Yeah.
later that were separate from session time, but now they
Yeah.
kind of blend together. There's a lot of vendors in the expo hall and they want time in front of prospects, right? And partners. I want partners in the reseller space to come to the Tasklet booth and see what we're up to. So it's a
Mhm.
big investment and a lot of time and a lot of planning, and we want to leverage
Yeah.
it as best we can as often as possible. you
Yeah, and
know?
I feel the same way about the sessions. Like there's always multiple sessions at the same time. It's like maybe there's a partner showcase I wanted to go to, but then there's another
Right.
one at the same
Right.
time.
It's
It's
hard.
hard
And
to manage your time and get everything that you want to get accomplished.
you're right.
Uh,
Partner solution showcases are always scheduled at the same time so they don't compete with educational
yeah,
sessions. And you can't get to all of them, and there's only so
can't
many
get all.
slots. So time
Mm-hmm.
in the expo hall is really valuable because you can't be in more than one place at one time.
I know we try, don't we, Bob?
That's right. We try. I
Oh,
got to
now
figure
on
out something.
Tuesday, what else happened on Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Can't forget
Well,
what else.
there were lots of sessions on Tuesday, and one I
Yeah.
recall talked about
Oh,
the top 5 things you should ask your ISV and make sure you avoid all the
and the red
red
flag.
flags,
And
right?
red flags, yeah, with ISVs. And I was on that panel along with you and our fabulous Tiffany Allett and Fawaz Hussein, who we went through those 5 questions plus a bonus question. We had time for that.
Yep.
Yeah, the red, green, yellow, red flags. And we asked the audience too, what are their red flags? Got a lot of interaction with the audience questions or red flags that they had too.
Yeah, I was happy with our attendance and some of the follow-up questions that came from the
Yeah.
audience because if you're looking at a new ERP or perhaps you're trying to figure out the ISV landscape, you're probably going to have lots of questions. And a lot of end users are doing their homework before they approach their partner
Mm-hmm.
or an ISV.
Right.
So if they can figure out some of those red flags or some of those questions to ask ahead of time,
Mm-hmm.
their search is going to be easier and more efficient.
Yeah, and I hope people took away from that too, that they should get with their partner too, because they
Yes.
have a lot of insight as well into what makes sense and what do they recommend. So do your research, but involve your partner, right? That was
Right.
kind of a theme
Your
for
partners are
sure.
being harassed. I mean, updated constantly by wonderful ISVs like yours truly. So to make sure they're on the cutting edge and that their
Mhm.
prospects get the right solution. So
Exactly.
and then Wednesday rolled around, and at least as far as sessions go, and yours truly had a evaluations strategy panel for Dynamics
Yeah.
GP end users, which
Oh, yeah.
involved
How'd that
aforementioned
go?
Chris Giesbrecht, right? And 2 other end users, one in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the other one in New York
Okay.
City, Rhonda and Dory, respectively. And they're each at different stages of their journey. Like Rhonda works for Explorer Pipeline, and she is in Oklahoma, and she has a pretty good idea of where they're going to go. She's not ready to pull the trigger
Mhm.
just yet, but she's getting close, and she expects to be live on something else by Q4 of 27, so the next 2 years. Chris
Okay.
is in the process of looking at where he's going. He's been to every show under the sun, Microsoft and competing shows this
Mhm.
year. So he's getting smarter on what possibilities are out there. And Dory works for a company that has decided it's a family owned business and they've decided to stay on GP. And they're going to figure out they have their partner, which is Gravoc, and their partner has told them if you want to stay on this solution, we will support you. So Dory is going to stay put. I had 3 different end users and 3 totally different pieces of
Yep.
their journey, all telling their story. And I'm sure that a year from now, when we get updates from them, we'll probably get great updates and be able to determine where they're at. Is
Yeah.
Rhonda almost ready to go live? Has Chris made a decision? Is Dory still going to stay on GP? Is it going as she planned? So it's a cool end user focused session, and we had decent attendance given that it was first thing in the morning, and then we rolled right into the GP general session after that.
I
So
don't know. Yeah, I don't know if we should have 8 o'clock sessions
so
after.
early. I know it
It's
was like the
really,
BC Bash was the night before, and then the
yeah,
Power GP Online party was later that night. And
right?
oh man, I'm running out of juice at this age.
Right? I know, exactly. Well, and there's partner events that happen, and
Yeah,
of course I had the AI, what they call it, the AI bash anyway, that was
right.
part of the summit.
Wednesday
And
night.
yeah, Wednesday it was kind of interesting. On one side, they had kind of the venue was split into 2 locations, which we didn't figure out till much later. So we got to the other
You
one a
needed
little late.
AI to tell you that.
Yeah, I needed AI to tell me that. But the one side they had a lady was on she was on stilts and feather outfit. So they
Okay.
had like I don't know if they were Cuban, but they had dancers and a Cuban band and people were up doing salsa dancing, which
Oh,
is
wow.
fun. I
Okay.
like that.
Very
So yeah.
Florida-esque. Yep.
Yeah, lots of opportunities. The BC Bash, of course, that was Tuesday evening. You mentioned Power GP Online event at the House of Blues in Disney Springs, right?
Yep.
So that was
That was fun.
that's a must do.
I talked to Wendy Epperson at that, and she said it was their highest attendance that they've had. So
Gosh. Yeah. Well,
advanced networking. High.
GPers know how to party. That's what I say.
I know. We're good at it. We've got
I
lots
know
of
we're
years under
good,
our belts.
right? We have been doing it a long time. Well, Bob, we probably should wrap up, but where are we headed next year, Bob?
I'm so glad you asked, Carol, because next year, Community Summit is heading back to Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA, for the first time in 9 years. Right? If you
Yeah.
look on the back of that T-shirt that you brought home from Orlando, you'll see that Nashville was in 2017. It was a great show at the time. It set an attendance record for all the summits that we'd ever done previously. And the 2020 summit was supposed to be in Nashville at the Gaylord Opryland Hotel and Resort. But because of COVID, of course, none of that happened. So it's been a
Right.
long time since Nashville was leveraged for Summit. And now John Seifert and company are headed back there. And it's great. It's a great city. I've been talking it up to all my Danish colleagues who've not been to Music City before. And it's really wonderful. John told me they're going
Yeah,
to do the closing party at the Grand Old Opry the last night.
this would be
Iconic
cool.
place to go.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. And just everything about Nashville is really
Hmm.
wonderful. And I really hope they have big plans, obviously, for next year because it's Nashville. But I'm really hoping that attendance will just spike because it will
Yeah.
be so much fun to get everybody there in such a great city.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we talked about this yet, but there were 5,200 attendees, is what I heard on Thursday at this year's summit. So
Yeah.
hopefully next year it'll be even bigger, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping they'll get 6,000 or more. That would be
Yeah.
great. That would be a great gathering to have 6K
Yep.
in Nashville. What a wonderful place. I have one really good memory from 2017 because everybody dressed up, including yours truly, for that. So bring your cowboy boots and your hats next year, everyone. But
Okay.
there was a GP bank rec session done by Sean Dorwer, who's now at SA Global, and Amber Bell, who owns Training Dynamo, and they did it together dressed as there's a bank rec session now. Johnny Cash and June Credit Carter. It was awesome. They dressed the
Johnny
part.
Cash.
They did the session. They knew what they were talking about, and they looked great. It was amazing. I'm like, this is our community at the
Right. I
highest
know.
level doing a session in Nashville like that. It was awesome.
I'm excited about next year. So yeah, and I think they extended the registration, the early bird kind of summit registration. So if you're planning to go ahead and register. I think it's 1,199 or something.
Yeah,
Anyway,
1,200 bucks. Yeah, which is pretty
so
good for a show that lengthy. And it'll be the week of October 11th, October 11th being a Sunday. So that means
okay.
golf from Tasklet, Netstock, and World Max will be 10:10, 1 o'clock sharp. We're already planning where we're going to have it. But the week of October 11th in Nashville, Tennessee,
Yeah.
a place you don't want to miss out on.
All right. We'll see everyone there next year in Nashville. But thank you, Bob, for taking a few minutes, well, more than a few minutes, to go over and recap with me on Dynamics Community Summit this year and our summit edition of ISV Talks. So thanks again.
You
And we'll
bet.
see all of you soon at the next event here coming up, Copilot in March, right?
Yep.
Take care,
Thanks.
everyone. Bye bye.